Hello and welcome back to BS Rugby. The Six Nations is now just days away. I cannot wait for it, and I'm sure you're just as excited as I am. And the Six Nations is a brilliant opportunity to see some youngsters who we may not have heard of before come to the fore and show what they're able to do. So today I'm going to show you 5 top youngsters to keep an eye out on during the course of the Six Nations. I'm going to pick one from each country. I'm going to have a look at why I think they could be one of the stars of the show. Before we get into it, if you're new here, hit the like button, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe as well. We are, of course, going to be doing so much content over the course of the Six Nations, previews, reviews, reactions, watch-alongs, the whole lot. So make sure to subscribe. It's going to be a crazy few months on the channel. Let's start off, though, with Wales. And as a Welshman, I'm so excited about this guy. Jack Morgan plays down at the Ospreys, is 20 years old, has 0 caps at the top level. Of course, he has been capped, though, at under 20 level. He plays in the back row, predominantly wears the number 6 or number 7 jersey down at the Liberty Stadium. And he signed for Ospreys on a free transfer about a year ago, and it was seen as a huge coup at the time. He has an incredible ability at the breakdown to slow the ball down, to get turnovers. And that's something we're going to see when we have a look at his stats in just a second. It's not only defensively that he really stands out. His comfortability with the ball, his ability to run and to be an attacking threat is something that's quite impressive for a 20-year-old. Now, do I expect him to be starting in the Six Nations to start with? Probably not. But with all the injuries we have in the back row, the likes of Navidi, Tipperick and Falatau out, he is certainly an option that Wayne Pivac could look at in this competition. If we have a look at his stats in the URC this season, his stats are pretty impressive. 128 tackles, that's the most in the United Rugby Championship, and 13 turnovers won, that's also the most in the European Championship. So he clearly is doing something right and deservedly is in this Wales squad, and in my opinion, in this list. But do let me know your thoughts on him in the comments down below. We move over to Ireland. First of all, Wales' first opponent. It is Michael Lowry from Ulster. He is 23 years old, so just about qualifies for this as being a 23-year-old. He's never been capped by the Irish team, but has been in exceptional form for Ulster over the past couple of years. Very comfortable across the back three, can play in the wing, but predominantly plays at a fullback. And although he's a small guy, he certainly puts himself about, and defensively is a really solid option, but his going forward is where he thrives. Very much an attack-minded fullback, wants to run at defences, loves the up and under. I think he's been fantastic this year for Ulster, been awesome in the URC, but also in Europe as well. And looking at some of his stats from this season, he has the 13 most offloads in the URC. He also has covered 269 metres this season, which is the 24th most in the league. But the most impressive thing about him is his defence, in my opinion. Tackle success rate of 90% from a fullback, and from a much smaller guy as well, is really impressive and shows that his tackling technique and his positioning is absolutely brilliant. And for the Irish team, would I expect him to be starting over Hugo Keenan? No, but off the bench, he's a brilliant option in my opinion. Irish fans, let me know your thoughts on Michael Lowry. I know how highly the Ulster fans rate this guy, and they are really excited to see what he can do. Heading over to England now, and we're going to focus on this man. Rory Quirk plays, of course, for the Sale Sharks, to scrum half, is 20 years old, so very young, and has 2 caps already coming in the autumn. And I really like Rory Quirk. He's an exciting scrum half who loves to offer brilliant support lines when a player makes a break, and also he loves to snipe around the breakdown. He's probably got more game time at Sale than he thought he would have this season with the injury to, of course, Faf de Klerk. And he is your typical scrum half, sniping, quick, box to box. He's all over the place. He really is a box of tricks. He did manage to get a try against South Africa in his second cap in the autumn, as England won that in dramatic style. Again, the final try of the game before, of course, Marcus Smith would convert the kick to win the game. How much game time is he going to get? Again, this is the issue with a lot of these youngsters. There are players ahead of them with Ben Youngs, but off the bench, I think he's a brilliant option. If you need someone to speed the game up, and that link between him and Marcus Smith, as we saw in the autumn, works really, really well. So off the bench, he would be a genuine option and someone who could speed the game up, get England on the front foot, get quick ball as well, And I think that could be a real option for Eddie Jones. If the game is tight and you need someone to speed the game up, he could certainly be your man. So keep an eye out on Rory Quirk in this year's Six Nations. We are going to head across to France now. I'm going to focus on this guy, Melvin Jamin, plays for Perpignan, 22 years old, 6 caps for his country already, plays at the fullback position, and he really burst onto the scene during the course of the summer tour to Australia, although it wasn't a particularly successful tour for France, but it was in the autumn where he really caught the eye. Starting that game against the All Blacks, they won in incredible style, kicking so well throughout the course of the game, and his kicking stats are quite exemplary, and we'll have a look at them in a second. But it's interesting, he's playing at a club which are struggling in the top 14 this season, Perpignan, and it seems as if, Galtier is very willing to give players from all over the top 14 and even in the Pro D the opportunity to prove themselves at international level, with an eye, of course, on the next World Cup in 18 months or so in their homeland. He's very competent over the high ball. He's a fantastic kicker. Again, that temperature, of course, the 50-22 rule is in place now. But as I said, it's his ability to stay fit and also his kicking stats, which are quite impressive. This season, in the top 14 for Perpignan, he has played 18 games, starting all 18 of them, showing how important a player he is to them this season. And a kicking success rate of 95%. Shows why he truly is a quality player, in my opinion. He seems to have taken over the fullback jersey from Bryce Dulland, so that's going to be a really interesting battle to see who gets the nod in that position this season under Galtier. Who's Galtier going to go for? Is he going to go for Jamin, or is he going to focus on Bryce Dulland? That's going to be fascinating to see who he goes with. And he really is an exciting talent. So keep an eye out on Melvin Jamin this Six Nations. Moving on to Scotland, then we're going to focus on this man. It's Andy Christie from the Saracens. Plays in the back row, 22 years old, and no caps so far for Scotland. And a bit of a surprise addition to the squad. He really wasn't on my radar when they were talking about who would be in the Scotland squad. A very modern back row, big, physical, but has a bit of pace on it as well. Again, that back row for Scotland, you feel, is pretty settled with the likes of Hamish Watson and Jamie Ritchie. But as an option off the bench, and certainly an option against Italy, you would think so, no disrespect to the Italians, he's a really good option off the bench if they need someone like that. Now, do I expect to see much of him? Not really. I don't think so. And I think part of it maybe is Gregor Townsend thinking, right, we better get him capped for Scotland because he qualifies to a grandmother, I believe it is. But that is what's happened. He has been called up. Again, an eye on the next World Cup. And this Scotland squad is aging. There's a few older boys in there now who may be thinking the next World Cup is their last opportunity. But this Six Nations is a big chance for Scotland, and I believe that Andy Christie could have a breakthrough tournament, and we could see him having a real impact on this Scotland squad. Scottish fans, let me know in the comments down below how excited you are to see him, and how do you think you're going to do this year? And if you are interested, there are previews already on the channel for Scotland, for the Irish, for England, already on the channel, going in depth on the teams and having a look at how they're going to do. They'll be linked in the I button and down below. But finally, and certainly not least, it is the time of the Italians, and we're going to be focusing on this man. It is Stephen Varney, playing for Gloucester at scrum half. He's only 20 years old, but already has 9 caps to his name. Now, interestingly, with Stephen Varney, born in Pembrokeshire in Wales, but qualifies for Italy through his grandmother. And he really is very similar in style to Rory Quirk in the way that he wants to play. Very attack-minded, wants to run out defences, offers brilliant support lines, and very important for Italy, he struck up a really good partnership with Paolo Galbisi at 10. Of course, Galbisi playing at Montpellier now, but Stephen Varney is someone to keep an eye out on during the course of the Six Nations. Italy's squad is very, very young. There will be a preview out tomorrow night on Italy, so do keep your eye out on that. He is a really exciting scrum half. Decent box kicker, something he could probably work on as well as his defence, but going forward is where he shines. If there's a break by one of the big ball carriers, by a Marisi, or if Galbisi gets a bit of space, or Minozzi gets a bit of space, keep an eye out on Varney on that support channel. He will be there, and I'm sure he'll get onto the end of it. For Italy, it's going to be a really tough Six Nations, but I truly believe he could be a real shining light for them this season. And if he can start every game, which you'd expect him to, then he really could stand out. For Gloucester, he hasn't played all that much. His best season was probably a couple of years ago, where he did manage to play 7 games, getting 4 tries in that time. And he hasn't been a regular starter for them yet. But at only 20 years old, he's got plenty of time ahead of him. So there we go. That is my top 5 youngsters to keep an eye out on in the Six Nations 2022. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts down below, and of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We got so much content coming your way over the next couple of days. So tomorrow we got Wales and Italy coming out, our deep dives on them. We got a predictions video coming out as well. And then on Friday, we're going to have individual previews for all of the games over the course of the weekend. And we're also going to be doing watch songs for all of the games. So make sure to join me. We've got special guests coming on to help us watch them together. So subscribe to that and turn the notification bell on as well. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure, as always, to enjoy the Six Nations fantastic feast of rugby. Stay safe. If you're going to some games, absolutely enjoy them. And I will see you very, very soon here on BS Rugby.